My name is Lynne Parker. I'm Artistic Director of Rough Magic Theatre Company, which is one of Ireland's leading independent companies. So I work in the creative arts. I work in theatre, and I suppose that area is, on the face of it, one of the success stories for women's empowerment. We are at a point in our history where I would be reckless enough to say that I think the majority of good theatre work done in this country is being made at present by women. And even though our big institutions, the Abbey and the Gate, are run by men, and they're doing a very fine job, if you look at the independent sector, from Gary Hines and the remarkable Druid Theatre Company to the smaller companies and people like Russia Gunn, who's just taken over the Dublin Fringe Festival, you see that we are now in a position where we can initiate work, we can produce work, we can take an idea from the beginning to its conclusion. And we do this with teams of women. I've been involved in shows where the play was written by a woman, directed by a woman, designed both in set and lighting and sound by women, with a woman production manager, a woman producer, and none of this is surprising anymore. And you know, we have amazing actresses in this country, female actors. We have amazing female directors and writers, and more women are now writing for the Irish stage. And it is very tempting sometimes for us to think that the battle is won, that we've got there now. And to some extent, we have. We have a real sense of freedom. I mean, the world, to some extent, is our oyster, and everybody has the funding problems and all of that. These are not particular to women, but we have genuine creative freedoms now, I believe. And I was sort of, when I started looking at these pictures, I was drawn to all of them. They're wonderful pictures. But I sort of singled out a couple. One of them was the Galway fisherwoman and the fantastic fish. And I just looked at those women and I thought that they live lives that very few of us nowadays could actually have. They get up in the morning and they wrestle with the elements for basic survival. It occurred to me that those women are probably younger than they look. They live really hard lives. And that sort of lifestyle may be taken up occasionally as an option for us now, but very few people in this country anyway have to live like that. And they did it. And you look at them and you think that those are amazing faces. I wonder what they're thinking. And then I was drawn to another picture, and it's the lace makers. And in a way, the contradiction is what's interesting there, because these are middle-class women to an extent. They're in a very nice room. It's a beautiful pine-panelled room, and they're dressed in beautiful blouses. Yeah, that's them. And they're engaged in a creative act. Now, lace making is an extraordinary thing, and it involves a degree of skill and artistry and commitment and patience, and all the things that we in the creative world need to make whatever it is we do. But it also occurred to me that to some extent they were almost literally boxed in, that the sort of choices that are available to us in our present world were completely unknown to them. And then I thought about Alice Milligan. Somebody seems to have forgotten to tell Alice Milligan that she was supposed to be boxed in. She decided to think outside that box. And it is that independent spirit that I think we need to know about, not because of the past, but because of now. A few years ago, the Abbey Theatre celebrated its centenary. I remember saying to Gary Hines at that time, and we were both pretty outraged by this, that throughout that year, the work of many people was celebrated, but Augusta Gregory did not appear once on the Abbey stage, except for a wonderful amateur company based in Dalkey who did her play Spreading the News. apart from that, she was referred to, but she wasn't staged. I didn't hear the name Alice Milligan at all. And this is what Jane was talking about. It's women's voices and women's energy that created things and then seems to have been somewhat airbrushed out of the picture. So I kind of think we need, and I feel a responsibility, you know, emerging from this exhibition to go and talk to younger women who are fantastic, who are full of creative vim and energy and ideas, and to remind them that the privileges, and maybe we should regard them as rights, but they're also privileges that we enjoy, were only gained through the work of people like Alice Milligan. And you know, we are great achievers and we are some of the brightest prospects in this country, but we stand on the shoulders of people like Alice. So we really need to tap that energy, which she's so inspired. I mean, she was doing the sort of work now which young theatre makers think of as revolutionary. Theatre of the image, I mean, her tableaus, her lantern shows, the use of multimedia. This is all regarded as groundbreaking stuff. Alice Milligan was doing it over 100 years ago. So we have to realise that independent thinking, ingenuity and genius to some extent is nothing new, that we owe these amazing women, and Alice in particular, an enormous debt, and that we were never in so much need of that kind of creative energy as we are at this point in our history. So.